And I will,
Okay. All right. All right. So go ahead and share. Okay, great. That I can see that. Good.
all
Let's go
right.
to browser first. Let's go to your web browser.
Okay.
Okay, good. And then, so looks like you have a sandbox. Okay,
I
good.
do. I was in
Okay.
the sandbox trying to prepare for our meeting.
That's good. All right. So what I'd like you to do is, instead of going to the sandbox, I'd like you to go to my link, my CLU, not Blackboard.
Not the Blackboard. Nope, not the catalog. Hang on.
Well, you have a lot of, right there, my CLU. There we go.
Okay.
And now what I'd like you to do is, this is kind of your responsibility because students are going to check you out. So if you click on my profile, okay, this is where you're going to put your picture in there. You're going to put your contact information. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to see your education background, bio. If you keep scrolling down, you'll have a whole bunch of things you can fill out.
Okay, great.
Yeah, publication like your books and stuff, you can put it in there, your website, your blog site, blah, 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 blah. That's something you need to set up. And the reason you want to do that, there are two folds for that. One is that the students, as soon as that they could register the class, in which they can now, they like to know who you are. And also because your profile will show up in our faculty page. And we oftentimes refer prospective students or current students to go to that website so they could see who actually is teaching for us and their credential. Okay, so that's something you could do. You can, at your leisure, just upload a picture. And if you have a CV,
I do.
share, just click there, it'll store there.
Sure.
And what I typically do with this page is that anything that I do, for example, yesterday I was interviewed by another association. It was only 30 minutes. I don't actually have a recording or anything, but I put it in my activities in the, so if you go a little bit down, like publication area, I put it right there and say such and such date.
Okay, where is that?
If you scrolled up a little bit, you will see something called publication.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that will be this. That's the section that I put my peer review publication, my textbooks, my books, my speaking engagements, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
That just shows that how active you are in the community, if you will.
All right. Yes, like last week I was quoted in Forbes.
See?
So I can put that up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should put that in, and then that way students know your credential and you're still very active in the industry and things like that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something that you can do at your leisure. Okay, then let's go to your, so that's profile. Let's go to your Blackboard. Before we go to Blackboard, what I'm gonna do is, hold on. I'm using this is embarrassing, my Mac, old Mac that I love so much. It doesn't necessarily behave. All right, so in the chat box, you will see a blinking light in chat. Click on chat, and I gave you a URL, and click on that URL. If you look in the bottom of your screen, just mouse over, you should have a share bar somewhere.
Yep, hang on, let me find the chat. Here we are, chat box. Good. Got it. Okay, so click on this.
Click on that link, yes.
All right.
All right, so this is the available training for you. This is done by our Center for Teaching and Learning. What I'd like you to do, you don't have to do it today, but you need to do it quickly. There are Blackboard training, there are Zoom training, there are a whole bunch of other training that if you'd like to know, go sign up, get yourself prepared for the classroom environment. Well, I know you have teaching experience, but I just thought that sometimes these are great information to have. Now, in the bottom of the list, you will see something called VidGrid. Okay, that is a recording platform that we use. So let's say if you look at the Blackboard materials, there's really one piece of material that's missing that you really want to record it. You don't want to talk about it in the class, but you want to record it. You can go to VidGrid and then record it. It will stay within CLU platform from a copyright perspective. So that's a tool available for you. And also discussion board, things like that. All of these trainings are available. I really encourage you to sign up. And in the fall, as soon as we start the term, we will have a faculty meeting, the financial planning faculty meeting. In that faculty meeting, I will usually invite someone who's specialized in online learning to come and talk with us about teaching online. So we will learn a little bit more of those in our faculty meetings as well. But these are the things that I will encourage you to go through and sign up if you have time to look at it.
Okay.
All right, so that's on the training part.
And they record the classes?
I don't know, but if you scroll down on this page, there's several pages of this. If you scroll down to the page.
Oh, here we are.
There are so many schedules in there. I don't know if they actually record, but you can ask.
Oh, but these dates are good.
Yes.
I mean, the end of July is perfect.
Yeah, if you keep going down, you will have various different sections that you, if it interests you, you should go ahead and schedule.
Yeah, I will.
There's no extra cost to us anyway, but this is a service that university provide to all faculty member. So by now you should see that you can tell that we are very much including everybody in, regardless. We want to make sure that you are successful in teaching as well.
Okay, this looks great.
Yeah,
wonderful.
So take your time to go through it and sign up. Definitely sign up.
Okay.
All right. And the other thing is, so in terms of like how to create your Zoom meeting and stuff, that's all included in the training. So let's go to your Blackboard.
Okay.
Okay, so the Blackboard, now you have a sandbox of 535. Let's go into 535. Now, I don't know how much you have done the changes, but it looks like you've done a lot of changes. The week dates are all changed.
Well, actually, Josiah did that.
Oh, okay.
And I do know that I owe you a couple things. I owe you to put the welcome to class announcement, which I will. And
you can do that before the class. This is something you will do. You don't owe me anything. You have to do that in the Blackboard.
On my to-do list here.
Right, that's on your to-do list, yes.
Yes.
And then once you have this kind of Blackboard ready to go, when you go through the training of the Blackboard and discussion and everything else, especially on the due dates, because you need to change the due date, because this is a copy from previous year. So that means that you will have to go in and manually change any of those due dates accordingly. So you'll get those training from the Center for Teaching and Learning. The things that I do wanted to point out to you is, because this environment is where you play, this is a sandbox, that's where you play. When you are done, so let's say we are starting in August the 10th, you should have your Blackboard all ready to go a week before, minimum a week before. You can then reach out to Center and Teaching and Learning. When you go through the Blackboard training, ask them who you should call. The reason is, now this is ready for you, they have to help you copy this into the production class. This is your sandbox. You're playing with it. Students have no access to this. So they need to help you copy whatever the changes you make here to the production. So that's when you go through the Blackboard training, do ask who is your main contact to make that happen.
Okay, so then no one, so I am the only one who can see this. This isn't live for the students. This is
Nope.
my sandbox. Very
This is yours.
interesting.
I don't even see your class, to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And so everything that I do though here can get migrated over then
Yes.
to
Yes.
the students' Blackboard.
That's right.
Okay, and
But
hence the
while
name
you-
Sandbox. Very
That's right.
good.
while you are working on every single week, you need to go into each week and to find out what assignments students are doing, because you also have to change the assignment due date based on your current schedule.
Okay.
And because those changed, once those change, they will need to migrate into production. So that's what CTL's team will do. They will copy this for you at your request. Now, when they copy for you, it doesn't necessarily everything will go smooth. For example, this particular term, I had them copy for me. And then by the time you have to go back and check in the production side, that's where the student's seeing your file. Something didn't copy over. The discussion board completely missed. Completely, which means that I have 8 weeks worth of discussion missing. So the CTL has to go back, recopy for me. And then after they copy, I went back and double check again, something else was missing. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that when you tell them to copy for you, you need to double check everything before they let you off the site. Because
Okay.
once we begin the term, they are so busy helping hundreds of faculty members. We are just one of the few that they in their to-do list. You want to make sure that everything is working properly before you let them off your site. Otherwise, there's no way that, because I can't see your course. Josiah had no access to any of the Blackboard anyway, so none of us can help you. And you will be dead in the water if the students are calling you. Now, the reason I say that to copy the week before the course is that about 2 or 3 weeks before the course, students will automatically have access to the live Blackboard. At that point, it's just an empty shell. They don't see anything, okay? The reason you wanted to do it a week or 2 before, ideally 2 weeks before, is then they can go and start purchasing the textbooks. Because if you're not giving them enough time, they won't have the textbook. You won't be able to do your week 1 assignment, and that will be a little bit too late. So I typically put it 2 weeks beforehand, and I will have my announcement the moment that I copy the file into production. So I will have the announcement there, and the announcement is very simple. Welcome to the class. I will see you such and such day and such time. Go to Blackboard, find out where the meeting link is, and go click on syllabus and find out what textbook that is, blah, blah, blah. Whatever that you need to tell them. And I usually set my expectation in that very first announcement. I tell them that this class is, in your class, I don't know, I know in my class is very, very intense. I tell them that my class is very intense. You will spend on average of X to X hours. So be sure to, I set that expectation very upfront, and I tell them that this is a graduate level course. I expect you to know and do things, you need to let them know that this is not an easy class. You want to let them know, even though it's an easy class, but you want to let them know it is not an easy class, because otherwise they will think that, well, I didn't know, I'm not prepared to take this. I didn't know that we have to spend so much hours to do this. No, you just tell them in the very first announcement class, I tell them that on average, students spend in my class anywhere between 9 to 15 hours. Schedule your time appropriately, because 100% of your students are working professionals. And you want to let them know that the class starts at 5:30 on Pacific time. You cannot be driving and attending the class at the same time. I had somebody done that. I did not know until I learned that, and I have to change my announcement to the following term. So you need to let them know. I can send you a sample of mine, and you can adjust whatever you want, okay?
Yes, and that would be super helpful just
Yeah.
for that whole feel that I'm
Right.
sure you deliberately present.
Yeah.
So that would be
I
great.
learned
Thank
from
you.
experience where I had terrible evaluation. It was because I didn't set the expectation up front.
Fair.
So that I learned, that's all the mistake that I have accumulated up to this
Okay.
point. Okay, so if you go to the announcement, there's one trick I wanted to show you. Now you see that you could, like the one that you have, welcome to the class, right?
Yes.
So let's say if you were to make something similar to that, let's go ahead and create an announcement. I'm just going to show you a little trick.
Okay, just click create announcement.
Yeah. So you give it a title, whatever, message, but let's scroll all the way down. Those are not all important at this point, but if you scroll all the way down on the other
Okay.
side. Okay.
Oh,
good.
here.
Yeah. You see at the bottom, it says send a copy of the announcement immediately.
Okay.
Okay. When you are ready, you can update this multiple times until you're satisfied with what you're writing, blah, 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 blah. When this get copied into the production, this will copy over. At the production, then you go ahead and click on that send copy of the announcement immediately. It will go out to every student registered in your class,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. Okay. So I use the announcement for two things. One is to set the very beginning of the class expectation. The second thing I use this announcement for is, let's say after we finish week 1, and I can give you a copy of my example as well.
Okay.
I
great.
will then summarize what is my expectation for this week's assignment. So I gave them a list of, here's your reading, this is your group presentation material, this is the discussion, how many discussion questions did you have, so on and so forth. So I give them a expectation of what I'm expecting the next Sunday, the due day of the assignment. So I kind of summarize that after the class. I normally do that the next morning because your class finished at 7 o'clock, so already very late. So I usually do that first thing the next morning to use the announcement and send it to everybody for that.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much all. So I'm going to give you the announcement sample and after class. Okay.
And so with due dates for the class, so if the class is on Thursday evening, then would the due date for everything be like
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night? And is there a time? Is it midnight?
Yes, midnight.
Okay.
I'll show you how to do that. So if you go to week 1, I mean, this is all going to be covered for you in the training session. Keep
Sure.
going down. Keep going down.
Okay.
Okay. See that their first one is the week 1 discussion board. Okay. There is a arrow down key, the gray key, right after the week 1 discussion board, right next to the text itself. Yeah. Click on that, and then click on edit. Okay, now if you scroll down, keep going down.
Okay, that's as far as it'll go.
Okay. Discussion doesn't have a due date. Sorry about that. That's cancel out of this.
Okay.
Cancel is in the bottom. Okay, good. Let's go to go scroll down. Let me see if there's an assignment on this one.
But that was very helpful what you just did. So
yeah. So let's see.
How about weekly survey question?
I will get rid of that.
Oh, Get rid of that.
I will completely delete that. I will also delete that live classroom archive. I'll show you in a moment where I do them, because I hate to have people go through each week and then do these. I don't do weekly survey questions. I do a midterm survey. Midterm survey means that by the time we get to week 4, I have a survey there, and in a moment, I'll show you what they look like.
Okay.
And that's something that you should do.
Okay.
And the reason I don't do weekly is that, only first week, what am I going to expect you? I'm going to give you enough time of 4 weeks to, sample assignments, discussions, and how the workload is. Then you tell me how you want me to change. I don't want to do it in a week 1 and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's go to week 2 instead. Maybe there is an assignment in week 2. Let's scroll down, see what kind of assignments do you have. Also, this class doesn't have, other than discussion board, there's really no assignment. I don't like that.
Well, there's all of these.
Reading, they have reading assignment, but yeah, but the thing is that they won't read it. I've been teaching for CLU this is my beginning of the 3rd year. I can tell you, nobody watched the recording. Nobody actually read it unless you make them do it. So here's something that I'm going to recommend you to do.
I was going to say, because I'm going to rely on them to have completed everything.
I'm going to show you a little trick, and it will get it done. Let me do this.
It sounds like it's a big trick.
It is a big trick. So, and can you stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
And I can share mine so I can show you.
Okay.
Okay, so I am at, okay, so sorry, my screen, my mouse is not working, my screen is working fine. All right, good.
There, it's back.
Okay, good. I'm going to see if I could move things a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to give you my live course. This is the live course that is going on right now. Okay, I will send you a copy of the announcement. So these are, the sample, I'll send you a sample. So you can see after the class, this is what I tell them to do.
Okay.
And then before the class, I have all these in place. Okay, so I'll send you those so you have that. Okay, so the things that I tell them to do, so starting week 2, not week 1. So week 2. To make sure that they do things well, they read, here's what I have. Group presentations. So if you look at here, that here is the required reading assignments, right? This is the reading assignment that they're supposed to do. And so what I did was I create almost before the class begins, I want you to read the material before you come in. And to do that, I assign group 1, read this chapter, group 2, read this article, and then you present back, here's my deliverable. Right now I changed it to only 10 minutes. I changed it to 10 minutes only. So they have 10 minutes to present. And I asked them to post their questions in a separate document because I don't want only one group reading one document. I want both articles to be read by students. So I asked the group that is not reading or not presenting also have to read because their job is to come up with questions. So this is what they come up with. This was their first week and they did a terrible job on that. And I have to tell them what I'm looking for. So they come up with the questions for the other group. So they read the document. They ask the other group the questions. So then they can present in the classroom, okay? So that's something that if you want to implement, I can give you kind of a framework here and then you can decide what you want to do. This way, it will ensure them that they have read the materials so that it can actually help you. You don't want to spend the entire time lecture them, because it is not, graduate class is not a lecture type of courses, if you will.
Yeah.
The other things that I do with them, and this might, if you're going to do this kind of assignment there, it may take you a while to create in Blackboard. So, and you don't have to do it every week. You could say, I just want 4 weeks of group presentation. You could do, that's up to you. You decide what you want to do. And so if you look at my week 2, you will see here's one assignment. Here's another assignment, right? And then here's the third one is the discussion. The third one is another paper. I ask students to write paper every week for one particular section of the paper. So by the end of the session, they combine with all the feedbacks coming in from me. Otherwise, they submit you a final paper at the end. They will have no chance of learning anything from you, because you will have no time to give them any feedback whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're just grading them. So that will be something you decide what you want to do in terms of the paper, because your class is a paper deliverable. You could even say at the second week, you deliver certain section for me, and then the 4th week, the 6 weeks, and the 8th week. That will be something that you can decide what you want to do. And here's what I do in terms of midterm survey. So here's my midterm survey. I tell them completed by when, and then there's a survey link, and the survey link that you basically access through your My CLU tab, that you see that there's something called Qualtrics. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think you're doing fine.
Once you click into here, and I'm going to show you mine, and you'll be able to see takes a while. So that's my midterm survey there. I basically create you can see only 5 questions, not much. And you can see that 9 students responded. And all I did, I just let them respond. And then I go to, actually, I just go to view the reports. And then I simply save the report. So before I show you share the report, you can see my question was, what is helping you learning? Okay, so you can hear group presentation helpful. Okay, good job. So I know that that's working. Assigned reading and videos are very good. So I'm hearing what's good, right? And then the next question was, so this is something I typically ask in week 4. Now in here, they did tell me that the group presentation of 20 minutes is too much. All right, so I cut back. So I started in week 5 after I received a survey. Starting in week 5, I say, you only have 10 minutes and I will cut you off if you don't finish, because you tell me you don't want to have a long presentation. And so that's what I do. So this midterm survey, I can give you a sample
that would be great.
Actual survey itself with the students' feedback in there. So you can see what questions that I asked, because all of these is helping us to kind of change our teaching style to meet the students' need. And so that I will share with you that survey, so you know the questions and stuff like that.
That would be wonderful.
But just wanted to, a word of caution, if you are going to add additional assignments like what I have, I probably will only add the group presentation, because that might be a lot of work on your end just to create those entries. So for example, if you look at my week 8, which is the final paper due, and the week 8 is each one of the students will present their final paper in the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't just let them off the hook of just send me the paper. No, I want them to literally present their paper in class, so everyone learns what they are doing in terms of what kind of research that they are doing in their paper. And one thing I wanted to show you real quick. The things that you're going to spend a lot of time off would be Okay, I'm using the wrong mouse here, so you won't be able to see that. But let me show you. Just, by the way, you're not supposed to see students' grades. Sorry, I forgot.
I was only looking at the formatting of the
Yeah.
grid. So.
All right, so see how the students, they write up, this is the assignment. And so this guy happened to be, I mean, he's just top of the world. I mean, he gave me more than what I'm looking for. But you noticing the grades here? The thing I wanted to show you is not the paper. The thing I wanted to show you is every single assignment should have a rubrics attached to it. So for example, I'm gonna just pull this one up. So the rubric itself shows you that how you should grade them. So this way, the reason I have this is that I have students come back and tell me that, hey, how come I only get 90? I don't want to argue. I just tell them, go read this. This is the reason, right? So I use that. If you need these rubrics, you let me know. I have them I can just send a copy to you and you can upload it into your coursework.
Okay, because in the syllabus, we do have a rubric for each thing. So is it a standard for the?
It is a standard.
For the department?
Yeah, for the discussion board, I have one. For the paper, I have another one. And so on and so forth. So they are standard. I already converted that into Blackboard. You could just upload it. When you upload it, you simply, and this is something that when you go through a Blackboard training, ask them how to do that. They will show you how to upload those rubrics and how to attach them into your assignment. So if I were to go to the assignment itself, let me go to this week 5 assignment. Like here, I'm going to go and do edit. This is where the due days comes in. Assignment does have a due date in there. That's where you midnight. This is midnight.
Okay.
And then the rubric. Once you imported your rubric, you simply add them. And in this case, it will show up for the students. They will actually see, this is how I grade them. And you don't need to worry about it. That's all being built.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's consistent.
It's very consistent. So then I don't get any questions about how come I only get 85? I don't even want to tell them, go read the rubrics.
Yes.
So I don't want to be arguing with anything. Now, there is one thing I do wanted to point out, and that is, for example, let me see if I do have something in here. Oh, good. That's the discussion I wanted to show you. See how the students are answering the discussion? So if you go to the grading center, need gradings, they will all show up in here. Oh, shoot, I forgot to put the grades for the presentation. I was grading so many paper, I forgot. All right, so like this one here, this is the discussion. If they done their job, I told them I need to have total of number of posts in there. So this guy have done his work, and you will put your feedback in here. The rubric will be attached. Again, it will be attached for you to grade them, but I usually have to say something in here. So I would say that if I read through it, sometimes students are really good at telling me an example from their practice. So then I will comment about their stories. I'll encourage them to share more story, things like that. So when they write their next discussion board, you will see a lot more improvement of what they are saying. So those are the feedback that you can provide directly in Blackboard. And that's part of your training in CTL. We'll go through all those training for you. Okay, so I am going to provide you with the announcement sample, after class announcement sample, the midterm survey. The midterm survey, what I'm going to do is simply just provide you with the actual survey of what students are saying. So you actually can see how, and based on their survey, I am changing as we move along. So you can understand why I don't ask in week 1, I don't ask in week 2, because it's just not enough time for them to
Okay.
get an idea of how the class structure looks like. And I'm also going to give you a slide template which has the CLU logo and then the financial planning in there. So you
Okay,
can use that
great.
for your in-classroom, because
Super.
you might have extra materials that you wanted to cover, and you just use that structure to
Yes.
create your slides.
Yes, and I'd like to do PowerPoints for every class. I had asked Josiah if there already were slides, because I have taught a class before where the department was very specific. These are the slides, but I'm fine creating my own.
Yeah, it probably is best to create your own.
Okay.
We are starting to change that. So the existing course doesn't matter. The new courses that we're developing, we have a required set of slides. You can add, you can delete, but we have a standard one, but
Okay.
not in this one that you're teaching. Most of
Okay.
our classes is not there yet. So we're beginning to do that, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I have
which
to give you
is-
that empty slides.
All right, which is, you know, to have a standard frame that then
Mhm.
you know as a department that this is being covered minimally,
Right.
and then to supplement. Is that what you're doing with
Mhm.
the other
Yes.
courses? Okay.
Yes.
Well, maybe I'll create, maybe what I create you'll like if this class just isn't done yet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The other things
So-
that I will recommend you to do is in the actual classroom. In the actual classroom, I will. So you have 90 minutes to lecture, basically. But what I will do is not use 90 minutes of lecture. So I
Okay.
will have about 10 minutes per group presentation. So that's 20 to 25 minutes already, right? For them, I need them to be active in the classroom. I will also give them breakout sessions. So for example,
Yeah.
let's say that you are in a typical, let's say if you talk about coaching as a topic and you talk about some techniques, then you're going to give them a scenario and then you break them into 2 groups or 3 groups. Have them discuss 5 minutes and come back and report back. And during the breakout session, nothing will be recorded. The recording will start when they come back to the main room. So when you go through the Zoom training, they will tell you how to do the breakout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I know.
Oh,
So
good.
I'm a big fan of breakout rooms.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for
Let them be active in the classroom.
yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. Not that I'm shy about giving a lecture, but I would much prefer that it be participatory,
Right.
sort of flipped classroom-esque. The groups, when you do the group presentations, so you do them about every other week?
No, mine is every week.
Every week. Okay. So do they all, so is it, so they've already prepared as a group, and do you stick with the same assigned groups for the class, or do you
Yes.
mix up? Okay.
No, I don't mix up. Yeah,
So
because it makes it very
preset.
difficult, because they typically will have 5, 6 people in the same group, and they get the hang of how to work
Okay.
with each other. And I let them decide who's when. I said to them that everyone has to present, but you get to decide
Yeah.
who presents what. That's your. And then when I'm short in time, let's say they prepare. Let's say the very first time they're presenting, they don't know what to expect, and they have 30 pages of slides, right? That happened before. And I would tell them, and I said that group 1, I want you to present your slide number 2, 6, 10, blah, 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 blah. And then I just want those slides. The rest, I don't care, right? But I'm gonna give you 5 minutes breakout session to figure it out. How you're going to rearrange who talks about what. So in addition to their preparation, I'm also trying to pick and choose, because sometimes they dwindle on too long. If I just let them run it, then I won't be able to get them to present the most crucial part of the message. So I tend to go right before the class. I will look at their presentation, and then I will see what pages is good. Then I will check. So for example, this past week, this Monday, I tell group 1 to present only 6 pages out of their 30 pages slides.
Okay.
Yep, I only want 6. Go figure it out. You have 10 minutes to do it. And then so they have 5 minutes, and then they quickly decide who's going to present what portion, and so on and so forth. And then I said, and then once you finish the 10 minutes presentation, you have 2 minutes to answer the other group's question. However you want to answer is up to you. So so that's something that I think that it can make your class much more interactive, and that will reduce the amount of time you need to lecture. And this Monday, for example, in addition to the group presentation, I also have 2 case study breakout rooms. I gave them a lowdown of the case, and then I tell them you have 5 minutes to talk to your team to figure out, tell me what's the tax implication in this case. Recalculate the tax information, and then we went back. One group was completely lost. The other group got the answer. And so when they report back, they understand how it works. It's students telling students how the calculation works. So you could do something similar to that if you like.
Okay. Yeah, case studies, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wonderful. How many, do these students in the Master's of Financial Planning program, do they travel in a cohort throughout the program?
We never had cohort before.
Okay.
We are trying to group people in, starting in term 1, term 2, and term 4. So we're just starting to do that now, but it's still not in cohort.
Okay.
Which basically means that they probably they may know other people already in the classroom. Chances are by the time you teach them, they probably already know each other.
Okay, I was just wondering if they're familiar with each other.
And that's part of your week 1 discussion.
Okay, yeah.
They introduce themselves in the discussion, so that won't take up the teaching time.
Yes. Okay, well, super.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Oh, I will probably have some questions. So, but I'll reach out to Josiah. He's been a great guide.
Good.
And I'm sure he'll tickle you when he needs to, if that's fair. We lost
I'm going to drop everything that I'm going to provide in a share folder. And so Josiah, you'll be able to have that share folder, including this recording, that you can share with the future new faculties coming in.
Well, I'm so pleased to have been part of this. Thank you so much.
Yes, we're very much looking forward to have you on board.
Oh, likewise. It's going to be really fun. And I love this course. It's
good.
just
Good.
so up my alley.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes. Well, good. And thank you so much. And I will reach out. It would be great to connect again. And
Absolutely.
I'll probably have some questions, though, for you,
Absolutely.
if that's okay. All right.
Absolutely. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, have a great summer. Stay healthy.
Too. Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye, Josiah.
Bye, Josiah.
Bye.